Hey, what's up guys, this is Liam or Weagle on your Destiny, back with a new video. Today, we're going to be covering what I believe to be the best PvE class in the entire game. I've done a lot of testing. We're going to be going through all of the different abilities. Now, I promised you guys I would do this, and even though I covered some of this in the past, I'll be talking about armor specifics as well for every piece of armor, and also some hidden abilities that some of this subclass's abilities have that aren't actually described and some people don't actually know about. I will be covering, as always, PvE and PvP, but I will be starting with PvE because this thing is absolutely insane, and it is the Night Stalker Hunter subclass. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the shadow shot itself, and some of you may know this, but this is one of the most important fundamental parts of this kit, and that's that if you have the shadow shot equipped and you have this top right skill tree enabled, and we will go through some of the abilities and the secret ones in a second, when you couple this with Orpheus Rig, which I'm sure you've all heard about before, which is the leg armor piece for the Hunter, you can get pretty much infinite supers. Now, I don't know if this is going to get patched or nerfed in some horrific way and become useless. I'm really hoping that it always maintains some applicability, but it is insanely strong in its current set. So if you have this equipped and you also have this skill tree equipped, when you fire your tether into 7 or more enemies, you will instantly regain every ability and your super straight away. You'll get everything back instantly. If you tether 5 or 6 enemies and then kill them, you will get your entire tether and all of your abilities back as well. But do note that the 7-shot one, when you hit 7, you don't even have to kill anything. You get it back instantly. Now, this isn't amazing everywhere. It's not great on every raid, every strike, every crucible match. It doesn't really work like that, but specific strikes and something like this week's prestige strike, this was just amazing, not only for me to be able to get my super back, but in order to build good supers for my teammates as well. So it's like a very supportive ultimate ability, and this is really good for rolling in them streaks and getting real good times on some of the strikes and different things that you may be doing within the game. It's also really good for some parts of the raid, but it's always best when there's 7 or so adds that you can fire this to in order to get it back instantly and generate more orbs for your team. Now, I will show you a clip where this looks overpowered because it's in a public event where there's 3 people with this on, and also Striker Titans, and there's like 1,000,000 orbs on the floor. So in some contexts it can be made to look outrageously OP, but I believe actually it isn't in most contexts. However, it's just extremely strong, and in my opinion, it's about time Hunters had something that's extremely strong. Now, if we go through the actual abilities that are in this skill tree, there's also some hidden stuff that I really want to talk about. The first one is the Snare Bomb, which I covered last time, and when you throw this smoke bomb, it will detonate when someone gets close or an enemy gets close. It's really good at slowing them down and disorienting them, but also it is used as a decoy when thrown behind someone and when it hasn't gone off. So if you put it behind someone, it will confuse the hell out of them, and this is not listed in the skill tree itself. So this is something to keep note of, that this is a very good distraction tool. Keen Scout, which also says Way of the Trapper, is something else that's really good. You can sprint and sneak faster, and you gain an enhanced tracker. Tethered enemies are marked for easy tracking. Now, someone in our comment section the last time I did a similar video to this explained to me why Faux Tracer is pointless on this Night Stalker, because Faux Tracer marks people that you can see, but this actually marks anyone that you look at. The tether only marks people that it tethers. This Faux Tracer can mark anyone, so I would recommend this in PvP over the Orpheus Rig, which is why I have different armor sets of 305 ready to swap over whenever I like. So this is really good for the tether, yes, but it's also not carried over all the time. It's only for the tether. So if you want that ability for everything, you have to wear the Faux Tracer. Deadfall is the next thing to talk about, because the void anchors fired from Shadow Shot become traps and wait for your prey. So you can leave this again in PvP for someone to walk into to set it off, so you can leave it on a point, or if you know someone's going to come with a super to cancel their super. It's a really, really good ability. Also, these void anchors actually have increased range and last longer. Something else to note as well about the shadow shot is that don't forget, if loads of things are tethered to it, just shoot the boss, because all damage that you shoot when they are all tethered goes to everything. So shoot the thing with the most HP and you will melt the other things around it as well, building loads of orbs for yourself and the team alike. And if you are killing enough while tethered, remember, you will get it back very quickly with Orpheus Rig. So a lot of these do have secret things that aren't explained to us, and Vanishing Step is actually a bit different. This one does simply make you go invisible when you dodge. Now, in terms of the dodge you can equip, I personally do like to be able to reload, because I like just trying to have gunfights, so I like to go invisible, get another gun out, or reload a rocket launcher, or whatever I want to do, so I can stay alive, res a teammate. This has so much different applicability options. You can use it for all of the above. Some of you may like to go invisible and recharge your melee, so you kind of go invisible and then punch someone, but if you do that, you're no longer invisible again. So maybe more of a PvP ability to really just confuse someone. In terms of grenade, in my opinion, there's not like a massive difference in all of these. The reason I like Vortex Grenade is, like I explained before, when you tether an entire set of enemies, you throw a Vortex Nade, that damage is shared among all of them enemies, and of course it does damage over time to all of them. Void Wall is of course really powerful too, and if you're feeling really accurate, then the Spike Grenade of course can be put behind something in order to do tons of damage over time. So that's the entire set as it is. That is the abilities that I like to run in most contexts. It's incredible for PvE and it's good for PvP too, particularly the going invisible part. The hardest part about using this in PvP is of course your tether. You need to be able to make sure you either hit a few enemies so that you get a mass set of kills, or you make sure you use it on a couple of enemies that are already supering. It's hard in its application there, and it isn't one of the strongest PvE classes. However, it is up there. It's not towards the bottom, it's somewhere in the middle. Always applicable, just harder to use, much harder to use than something like Titan, where of course you slam the ground and just kill things if you're a Striker Titan. So really awesome class. I think it's the best class in the entire game for PvE, as long as there's enough adds to tether, because you never run out of your super. Now we'll talk about weapons and armor. Now what you're looking at is more like a raid kind of equipment set that I would be using, and the tether isn't necessarily amazing at all of the raid. Apparently it's not amazing against the boss. Of course, one thing it does do is it allows you, when they're tethered, to do, I think, slightly more damage. It slows things down, but it doesn't slow Callus down, but you are able to do the crit damage no matter where you shoot him. So it's not one of the best for him, but for some other parts of the raid, it is really good. I, of course, have the Nameless Midnight on, because why not? It's one of the best scouts in the game, and in fact, one of the only guns that I don't have at 305. We have the Cold Heart here for the Skull phase on the raid, which I have finally got to 305, because a lot of the other stuff I had I could never get at 305. And we have the raid rocket launcher as well. I actually got this dropped on the first week of the raid and never realized how good it was until recently. What this does is detonates on impact, sends a massive cluster bomb everywhere. It just does tons of damage. It's just a really good weapon. I think it's as good as the Merciless, if not better, and the Wallcliff Coil alike, and you're way less likely to kill yourself with this thing than you are with the Wallcliff Coil. Now, armor's a little bit funny in the game. We've already explained how Orpheus Rig's amazing for this for PvE, and for PvP you could put on either Faux Tracer or Knucklehead Radar, and some people also like the Stomp Boot so that you can jump higher. If you have any personal preferences, then you can let me know what you think to that in the comment section down below. The last thing to talk about, of course, is the armor, and you'll see at the minute I'm sitting on 6 mobility, 3 resilience, and 5 recovery. Now, what I'm trying to do is get this to somewhere like 365 or 455 or something like that. If your mobility is quite low, it doesn't really matter in Destiny 2 as it currently stands. Resilience is probably the best of the 3, and recovery is quite good. If you can get your recovery up to like 6, 7, 8 mark, that's good, but it's also quite difficult with the Hunter. So I'm currently trying to move these stats around a little bit slowly but surely. You'll actually see that I've currently kept some blue boots just because they can be modified to go better in resilience and recovery than mobility. So I'm just trying to work towards that armor. I know that some of the factions and stuff do that, so I would definitely recommend less mobility, more on the other two for every other subclass in the game. In terms of perks, again, I'm either trying to adjust these numbers here with these different perks on them, or I'm trying to recharge my grenades or any version of Void quicker. That's what I have on all of these. Again, class abilities recharge faster, and the same down here. This all affects everything across the board, so again, it probably modifies my Orpheus Rig to be even better. If you had all of your Void subclasses regenning quicker on all of your armor sets, then you'd probably be even more OP when you're tethering things to the end of time. This is what I've tried to come up with, guys, and honestly, I've had so much success with this class since I got to 305 Light and since I got everything to where I want it to. The last thing for me is the stats. These things take weeks to find like the perfect classes, and I genuinely think that this is the best PvE class in the game. I do think that it's going to get nerfed, particularly Orpheus Rig, but at the same time, the Hunters don't have a lot of super OP stuff. Last thing to say, PvP, I've mentioned everything that I would equip. It's very similar to how I would run it for PvE, but it is more difficult in PvP. But going invisible is always an advantage. So guys, that is everything. If this helped you out and you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe, because both really do help us out. Thank you for the continued support. Be sure to check out our Twitter and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get notified when our videos go live. Have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.